What's
What
up?
up?
Welcome everyone who's tuned in, and whenever it is, if you're tuned in on the day that this came out, or if it's tomorrow or any other day, we appreciate you tuning in right here to the Ken and Mike show. Lots to talk about, don't we?
Oh yeah, this is the post Thanksgiving show, isn't it not?
It is. Oh, okay. Before we even get into anything else, Mike,
Yes.
did you cook the turkey?
I cooked the turkey,
You how did the turkey? How did
and
it
it
go?
was moist.
Was it
It
okay?
was moist.
Yeah,
Hey, full disclosure, I did a little more investigation on that. That social media likes to perpetuate things and make them a
sure.
little bit more than they usually are. Yes, that was a true story. Yes, it did happen. However, the video that was leaked that perpetuated this whole thing on social media was from 2006. So anybody who ate their butterballs between then and now have no idea what they consumed because now we're making a big deal about it.
Oh, great. That's probably why they put it out now, so that it
Yeah.
put it in their faces. I'm sure I was
So,
part of that whole gang. Great.
yeah, I did notice it wasn't as salty as it has been in the past.
Did you have to add something to it? Oh my gosh. I'll tell you what.
How are you, Ken? How was your Thanksgiving?
It was really good, actually. Yeah, we spent the time at my brother-in-law's house, and they catered, or they had to cater, so it was a lot easier for them. Still a lot,
Oh,
still a lot of work for
like
them. What's that?
you have it like that down there.
Yes, yes. I get catered to, and it was
Oh,
great.
wow.
There was like 44 people there, so it was pretty big.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So Kenny's up there on his mountaintop property and having things catered to him while us peasants are cooking abused butterball turkeys. Okay.
Yes, exactly. Ours was not butterball. I will tell you
Yeah.
that right now. We
I
had four
killed
turkeys
that
though.
just for you. Yeah, went out in the field and did it just then.
What'd you do out in the field?
No, I said they probably pulled the turkey from the field and killed it just then for you guys. Because you have it like that.
Yeah, totally. Absolutely. But it was great though. We really had a good time, and long long weekend, hikes and everything else. It was great. But hey, you know what? That's what it's all about. Did you have a lot of
Okay.
people?
No, I just did it for myself and my kids. We got a little home gathering here and a little, just a little private, intimate little Thanksgiving just for us and no big pop and stance.
Just chill.
Just chill. It was good. I cooked the turkey and everything else. I popped out of a can and out of a box, added water and heated.
Oh, that's awesome. That's so
So
easy.
yeah, I'm no chef, but hey, it was good. And I had seconds and leftovers rather for probably about 3 days before I had to toss it all out because I made a 20-pound turkey for just me and my four kids.
Oh my gosh. What?
Yes, we had turkey forever.
That's awesome though.
But hey, but that was our Thanksgiving, and now we're back to reality and back to the Ken and Mike show.
We are. Yeah, we are. And it's great. It's great to be here. And what do we're in December already, man. Christmas is literally right around the corner. Isn't that something?
That's disgusting, actually. It
Have
just
you got
time
all
is
your
just is
presents?
getting away from us, and
I know.
I've gotten nothing.
Okay.
I've gotten nothing, and I'm going to be a victim to laziness and procrastination because by the time I finally get things ordered, I have a feeling everything will be coming in after Christmas. Oh, by the way, this was supposed to be a Christmas present, but here's a picture of what you're getting.
That's how it kind of goes. It is difficult. We don't. It's not like it used to be though. We used to go shopping in the mall, and it was like that one night event. You go with all your buddies on a Friday night or something like that, and you go shopping. And now you just order it, which makes it easier though at the same time because there's things that we haven't gotten. And I mean, it's hard as they get older because that man, what don't they have?
Oh, I know. And I miss the times of I used to work for a place where my our Christmas was contingent upon the bonus that I got from the company that year. And we always received our bonus the day before we went away for Christmas vacation. So I used to take my bonus literally straight from work and used to go right to the mall and do everybody's Christmas shopping. Whatever I got for bonus, what you guys got for Christmas.
That's
That was
awesome.
the value of your gifts. And today now we've become slaves to Amazon and not going to the mall and having a little bit different income than I did when I was younger, when the kids were younger. But it's still actually I kind of miss it. It kind of takes away the tradition and the old way of doing things. Now we're just keyboard warriors and ordering everything online. It shows up from UPS and here, Merry Christmas. Yeah,
Exactly. You can even get
it's
a
my
gift
own
wrap
fault.
for you.
We complain and we complain about it, and but yet we partake in the system.
Honestly, that is the case. It is.
Yep.
Unfortunately,
So
it's good and it's
it is what it
bad.
is.
Yep.
Hey Kenny, do you miss this place?
You know what? I do. I what Stewart's coffee. That was like, let's see, was it my? I liked it. I do. A lot of people love. It's is it my favorite? Not my favorite, but I do like Stewart's coffee. 100%. Do you? What do you drink?
I
What do you
mean,
put in yours, by the way?
I just drink coffee with cream,
Yeah. Oh, really? No sugar, nothing.
no sugar, no, just coffee with cream,
Okay.
and the cream is optional. If they don't have it, I just pour the coffee. We're good.
Just go black. Okay. I like it. I like it. Yeah, Stewart's is
Yes,
good, man.
sir.
I do miss it. My kiddos, I remember taking them for ice cream all the time. The Stewart's. Stewart's is you get ice cream there?
Oh yeah, they nothing beats Stewart's ice cream.
Okay. I was gonna say he hesitated there. I was like, oh.
So, what's
Yes,
new
sir.
in the world of Kenny Burns?
There is just life is happening, man. I'll tell you what though, with just wrap it in my mind, to keep my head uh sort of clear of things. I mean, the reality is we have a lot going on. And think about, we got a president coming in soon. We've got lots of things that have occurred that we're going to talk about, of course. We've got Biden being pardoned that we're going to talk about, which I think you have an interesting perspective to come from. I'm looking forward to hearing that. You wouldn't tell me before the show, so it'll be a surprise to me as well. And
Well, I think
then,
we need to cover a bunch of things. I think we're going to cover Hunter Biden's pardoning.
yeah,
We're gonna
lovely guy, by
cover
the way.
yes, he's a stellar, upstanding citizen of the United States of America. Um, we are going to cover. Have done some research this weekend in preparation for the show. That I think we want to attack the narcissistic relationship we have with the Democratic Party,
Okay.
and I also want to talk about some new developments that happened today between him sending money to the Ukraine and sending money to Angola.
Which is great.
So we have a bunch to talk about.
I'm look at I
However,
I
go ahead.
will say that I was going to say is like, it's kind of like this. It's like if you have a bank account and somebody just happens to have, access to it and they just use it the way they want to, that's fine. If it comes out of my paycheck. So the
Hey,
taxes that we pay, whatever they want to do, Mike, it's fine. You know what I mean? And the people that are in our lives and the family that we have, they come second. That so my analogy being, like, I know we'll get into this, but yeah, that's great that he does all those things for these people and just kind of forgets about his own. But hey, more on that in a bit. You were going to show something
yes,
pretty cool.
I want to start off with a light note.
Yes,
Start off
please.
on a light note.
Yeah,
If anybody's a fan of the show in the past or even going forward, you will know that I am an avid Buffalo Bills fan.
really.
And I yes, I am, because Kenny didn't know that. And I have to highlight it's the first time in since I think they said 15 years that the Buffalo Bills have wrapped up the AFC East as the champions with still 5 games left to go in the season. So I want to give them I wish I had a sound effect, but I'd give them a little round of applause that it's awesome to see my team for 5 years in a row win the AFC East. Let's hope they can actually get
Pull it
somewhere
off.
this season. And
It is really good though.
well, I wanted to show a video. It's awesome because there's a little history was made as well during this past Sunday's game that not only did they win the AFC East, they also set a record where their quarterback Josh Allen not only he ran for a touchdown in the same game, he threw a touchdown in the same game, and he caught a touchdown in the same game. But he also threw and caught a touchdown on the same play in
It
the same game. And I think I want to show that video for our viewers, which was actually kind of amazing.
was cool. Here we
If we
go.
can.
55% targets to Shakir completed. This is being Cooper who brought it in.
Look at that.
Who's going to
Look at that.
go? Oh my goodness.
You just don't see something like this happen.
You don't.
I'm going to wait to see it in slow motion real quick.
Buffalo. Holy.
And the snow coming down.
Come on, Mike.
Look at that.
Come
It's a good thing he made that too.
on.
Look at this.
That just happened.
That is just
It's
incredible.
insane. And he almost missed that pass, by the way. Not Josh Allen, but the receiver.
All right, let's
And on top of that, Mike, we were talking about this before the show.
that was just
Played
that was pretty
himself
cool.
in fantasy football.
Yeah, and only 4 NFL quarterbacks have done that in history, where they've actually caught their own pass
That's interesting.
in the whole NFL history. Marcus Mariota did it in 2017 as a member of the Tennessee Titans. They were playing against the Kansas City Chiefs, if I remember correctly, in the playoffs. He threw a pass and it got deflected off the defender. He caught it and ran in for a touchdown.
Incredible.
It happened with Chad. I don't remember. His last name was Johnson. Played for Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and I think in 1999 or 2000 in their Super Bowl run, same thing. Threw a pass, deflected off a defender. He caught it, juked out the linebacker, and ran in for a touchdown. And the other time prior to that was in the 60s, which they do not have a video for. But it happened only one other time before that. And so 4 times in NFL history, but only once ever Josh Allen holds the record for in the same game, throwing a pass, catching a pass, running it, and actually throwing it a touchdown all in the same game. And he holds that record.
That's
which is-
incredible. You
It
said
was
they,
just awesome.
they didn't have the video in the 60s? Why is that?
They didn't have the one from the 60s. No.
Why?
But I have no idea. I just actually happened to do some research on it, and all he had was a photograph of it.
That's it.
But,
I wonder why.
yeah.
They videotape at that time?
So anyway, yeah, I'm sure they did. But yeah, so that was me just indulging myself there, just being an avid Bills fan and making you guys all see how elated I am that 5 years in a row we're the AFC East champions and we're kind of the feel good story this year because this is supposed to be the year that Buffalo Bills rebuild and weren't going to be able to go very far, and they're doing it with a bunch of nobodies, and they're
That's what I love. That's
9-2 on the season, and let's see what happens.
Yep. I love that. I love it when it's like nobody that you really know. I mean, you know what I mean? That's doing it. That makes it fun.
Well, they got rid of Stephon Diggs last year. They got rid of Gabe Davis. They got rid of Mitch Morse, their center. And so they have no names. They have Josh Allen. And all these guys are now making a name for themselves. They did go out and get Amari Cooper from Cleveland Browns, but that was just just a trade that happened midseason. And they're making this as like I said, a staff of nobody and our cast of nobody. And it's going to be a good year. I'm hoping. Hey, America, I think right now is rooting for, because the other feel good story is, and I can't believe I say it, but I'm kind of a fan as long as they're not playing Buffalo. Detroit Lions, the 10-1.
Dude, you just
And
took the words out of my mouth. Actually, I was going to say that's what I'm saying. People like teams like the Lions, who I loved the Lions back in the day. I still like them, but with when they had Barry Sanders, those were fun times watching him play. So they were never a great team though. He was great.
No.
And so like it's
Never
fun to watch these teams actually like they're like doing well. Them who else? I've never been a Cincinnati Bengals fan, but I knew I think I know 2 people in my life that are. And back in the day,
they're doing awful this year.
oh, I don't think they really ever do good. They did pretty good last year, right?
Yeah. Yep. The year before they made the Super Bowl.
But It's fun.
Yeah, it's just a feel good story. I think everybody's talking about right now. If it can get that far, we might see a Buffalo Bills Detroit Lions Super Bowl, which would be awesome. And I think that would do a lot towards healing this nation. We saw
It,
something going like that going
it
on.
would. It's just it's because it's different. It's not the same stinking teams each time. Remember? Yeah, I remember back in the day, it was like the whole Cowboys thing for a while. I was just like, oh my
It's
gosh.
always the Cowboys, always the 49ers, always the Patriots,
Yep.
and now it's always the Chiefs. Um,
Can't.
but we might see a Super Bowl preview here because in a couple of weeks Buffalo plays Detroit, and that should be a pretty incredible game. But I was
I,
just indulging myself because I'm a huge Bills fan, and
no, I think it's good. Mahomes, I like I like him, but then when the whole thing with Travis Kelce started happening, I'm like, I hate the Chiefs. I can't stand. I can't even look at it. I hate.
Oh, you're not a
Ruined
T
it for
Swizzle
me.
fan?
Heck no. It's such a bogus, dumb thing. Who cares? Get over
I'll
it.
say when Mahomes came into the league, I was a fan. Last year, I got a little tainted towards against him just because he threw a couple temper tantrums, which is out of character for him, and where he's starting to feel like he's it, and he's starting to believe his own press, and I think I'm starting to not like him very much.
Yeah, exactly.
But so yeah, moving on.
Moving
So
on. Yes.
Danny,
Yes.
before I get into my soapbox, like I like to do,
Mhm.
what is your opinion of the pardon?
I am just in my little video here. What do I think about the pardon? Well, first I want to give you a quick fact. Look me up on this and fact check me too when you have a chance. Interesting enough, so back in the day, because Chris, who we know loves the Eagles. I also liked the Eagles for a long time. Raiders were actually I like the Raiders. Yeah, I liked anybody somewhere else. So I wasn't a big I'm New York, but I liked the Mets, but I didn't like the Yankees. I liked the Athletics in baseball, and I liked
Oh, really?
and I
You
liked
like the
the
huh?
yeah, I loved it when Mark McGuire, Ricky Henderson, and all of them were on there.
Oh, Steroid McGuire. Okay.
And then I also like the Raiders because I liked it back. This is going back. This is back when Bo Jackson and Townsend and everybody was on the team. Those were my favorite times.
Wow,
Um,
you're really dating yourself, and I'm
I
older than
am.
you.
I am. That's when I was really, really stellar into it, though, just the way that I was. But all that to say, what was I going with
Yeah,
that?
all right, all right. I
Oh,
don't think
Randall
I actually.
Cunningham,
Oh, yeah, he was awesome, but he played for multiple teams.
scrambler. He played, yeah, but Philadelphia was his main team. And the thing about him, he was a great scrambler. That's what I was going to say. Is as a quarterback, I believe he has the record. Interestingly enough, because random things like this for the furthest punt.
Yes, 99 yards.
Yes, because it rolled, but it's still funny to me.
It still counts.
It still counts. He did it.
It still counts.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
So who is your NFL team? Do you have one anymore? Or?
I've always been, it's kind of like this. I love Jordan's my favorite player with basketball, but I don't have a favorite basketball team. I just don't. I just like players. Like right now, I love Curry. I think it's incredible the way he
Wow.
can shoot.
We're more like than I thought because my kids and I go over this all the time. Like, Dad, who's your basketball team? I don't really have one, but I was a huge Jordan team, and I'll be the first to admit I liked the Chicago Bulls only because I followed Michael Jordan back in the
Yeah.
days. He was an amazing athlete. I think by state, I'm a Knicks fan, and if they did good, great for them. I would cheer for them, but not during that time,
Right.
because I loved the Bulls. I loved Scott. I loved that whole tandem with Rodman, Pippen,
Yes.
Jordan, and then the same thing. On paper, I'm a Mets fan. Um, I stopped watching baseball as a fan on television during that '94 strike, and I just didn't follow it anymore. But yeah, Mets fan. I don't like the Yankees, but I don't hate them. My daughter's a Yankees fan. Um, and same thing. If I were to pick a player now, Steph Curry.
Yeah.
He's so much fun to watch. He's a pure shooter.
Uh-huh.
And I just love watching Steph Curry.
Same here.
LeBron could go eat a
I'm
turd
sorry.
pie out in the field.
I can't
And
stand him, Mike. Don't get me on a soapbox.
yep,
That's
I know.
there's so much to be said about that. I can't
So
like
who's your NFL team now, though?
yeah, so I honestly am in limbo. I don't have a set.
Really?
I really like like if I had to, like somebody said, okay, you had to narrow it down, it would be between like, again, I like to kind of veer away from who's really on the press, but is the Lions, and I like the
Yeah.
Raiders, and the just be I don't know, I've always been kind of like keen towards the Raiders, but those are my two. I love Detroit Lions. What's that?
Because the Raiders are the bad boys of the NFL.
They
They
are.
always have been. They have that little aura about them. I'll be honest with you. I haven't always been a Bills fan. I was uh I was raised a Giants fan. My family were
Oh,
Giants fans, and I didn't follow football. I was a little kid, I didn't really know anything about football. They just put me in the Giants gear. Oh yeah, I'm a Giants fan. I didn't become a Bills fan until Buffalo lost their first Super Bowl to the New York Giants. That's when I
really?
became a Bills fan. I thought they got robbed.
That's
It's like, you know
awesome.
what? And I always loved the underdog story.
Yes.
Because Buffalo has always been the underdog story of the NFL. Always the bridesmaid, never the bride. They kept getting there, but could never do it. And I always loved the underdog story. Doug Flutie, I was a huge fan of his back in the day. You talk about scrambling quarterback, but he was, what, 5'9", and that's short as far as NFL quarterbacks go. And he was a real short player, and he was the underdog. He bounced around the league. Nobody liked him. And then that 2 years, he took Buffalo from obscurity all the way into the playoffs, and they became like the talk of the town for a while. So I've always been the underdog story, and I've stuck with Buffalo. And then the experience of actually going out to a Bills game is second to none. I mean, I've even heard that from players on other teams to say anybody who's a fan of the NFL has to go to a Bills game just to experience what that atmosphere is like. And I got blessed, 5 or 6 years ago with my first game. Somebody just gave me tickets and said, "Here,
I
go
remember
see the,"
that.
and it was on the 50-yard line, only a few rows back on the home team. Now, mind you, it was pouring rain, and it was a miserable experience as far as weather went. But as far as just being there, it was like a college town in the NFL. It was awesome, and I've been back ever since every year to go see a game. And I almost went and saw the game this past weekend with the 49ers, but my kids talked me out of it.
Speaking of the 49ers, I know you remember this. I mean, obviously we know Jerry Rice and we know Joe Montana, but Steve Young, speaking of scrambling, he was incredible.
Oh, he was
You watch some of the
yeah.
highlights.
Yep.
I love watching highlights. That's kind of what I watch the most. I love going back to highlights and just watching them, all the replays, the bad and the good. Of course, I love watching in general. I love watching Jordan highlights. My gosh,
Yeah.
I wish that if Jordan was in his prime and LeBron, I just have it out. I'd love to watch him dunk on LeBron. LeBron's a baby. He would get smacked a little bit, fall
I
down.
can't LeBron at all. You listen, we could have a whole show on just dogging LeBron. Trust
Oh,
me.
I really could. Man. I can't do it. Oh,
Yeah, he's obnoxious. But no, back to those highlights before the Bills game, and I didn't know this that Steve Young and Jim Kelly went up against each other to one of the NFL's only zero punt games. They talked about that prior to the game, I guess. Back in, I was a fan then. I just don't remember the game. But I guess one game, Jim Kelly and Steve Young faced off against each other in a shootout, and neither side punted at all during that game. I mean, that must have been something to watch. I'm gonna have to go back and watch that just to
mhm.
to remember.
Incredible.
But yeah. Anyway, so you don't have an NFL team. You don't have a basketball team right now,
I don't know that
and
I
you don't
ever
have a
will have a
baseball. What
basketball
kind of
team.
sports fan are you, Kenny?
Hey, just going back to so basketball, I coach basketball, so it's kind of like where I'm at. But I do like I liked all like you said underdogs, people that were like they weren't the greatest players. Like for example, I thought Spud Webb was pretty awesome. I loved watching him 5'7" and
Oh yeah,
that was incredible to me. Stuff like that. Manute Bol, he was super tall. Again, this is dating
hmm
myself again. All of these guys, I thought David Robinson. I love his story. I love the backstories. David Robinson, essentially, he
Oh,
was in the
dude.
Navy. He wasn't even a basketball player.
Yep.
And all of a sudden, he's
Yep.
like amazing. He was good, man. Good defender too.
Yeah. I'm always like we said earlier. I'm always be the if you put me say, hey, we're gonna go see a basketball game, and I don't even know who they are, and it's like two high schools. Who's the one with the worst record? Okay, I'm cheering them on. Yeah,
Yes,
that's the way I always am.
exactly. And you know what? Speaking of basketball, I remember the game I went to. It was me, Chris, and a couple other guys. This is back in the day. We went to a New Jersey Nets and Miami Heat game in New Jersey.
Really,
Yep. And again, not the greatest teams, but it was a lot of fun. It was really good.
I've never been to an NBA game. I should do it.
Yeah, absolutely. You
Never
should
been to
come
an
out.
NBA game, and I don't believe I've been to. Yeah, I haven't been to any professional baseball games either. I mean, the minor leagues, as far as the junior minor leagues at
I went to
the
the
farm.
Pittsburgh Pirates game.
Oh, did you?
I did.
That's
Chris is a
awesome.
fan, and we happened to be in Pennsylvania, and there was a game, so we went.
He
And
likes everything Pennsylvania, doesn't he?
he does. We used to go to the Bethlehem when the Eagles trained at the Bethlehem training camp. We used to go and meet the players and stuff like that back in the day.
No,
When
76ers, is he too?
what's that? I like the 76ers.
No, I'm saying he's not a 76ers fan, is he?
No, no, no. He is a Lakers fan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yes. So, by the way, folks who are listening to us ran here, if you when you watch this, put in your favorite teams on the bottom and why. And if you are a LeBron James fan, I need you to tell me why.
Yes,
No,
please.
and
Just
tell me.
justify it.
Please justify it. Yes. And don't give me some crazy stats. Because I promise you, I will come back with you with stats on how Jordan is the GOAT and not him. And he's not even a king either, by the way. He is
I have
just,
I have one stat alone that proves that Jordan is the GOAT. Because anybody that says they're the best player to ever play is definitely not the best player. Michael Jordan never claimed to be the best player.
no,
It's just out there. The body of work is there. And if you need to convince people that you're the best, you are not him.
that's it right there. Yep, exactly. No, I'll tell you what, Jordan would never have traveled. And that's for sure. Anyway,
No, you
again,
can walk all the way down the half court and then start dribbling.
oh my gosh, dude. And then when Jordan got hit,
Right.
he went down, he got back up.
Yes. Yes. I get I say this with all sports, really. And I really think professional sports has devolved as opposed to evolved. Um, the basketball of today would never go with the 80s and 90s basketball. There's no defense today.
No.
It's all showboating and it's all offense. And I guarantee you, the 94, 93, 98 Chicago Bulls would run circles around any, any NBA team today.
I agree. I agree. But see,
Any.
the folks today, I've seen comments and I'm just like, oh my gosh, where they say, oh, they didn't have any, like Jordan didn't have anybody to play back in the day. Everybody's got talent today. And so,
I will give LeBron one bit of credit. He is an athletic specimen,
yeah,
body size wise, that you've never seen. And I think he would have made an actually fabulous, probably NFL player if he didn't cry on every time he was touched. Uh,
exactly.
um, but yeah, you can't compare. The same thing with football. The latter years of Brady's career. If you were to put Brady on any 80s NFL team, he'd be demolished
Yeah.
because they rules were created in modern day NFL to protect players like him. It's not the same football. It's the same reason why you got your Terry Bradshaws and your Joe Namath. They can barely put two sentences together because they got pounded so much.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
It's not the same.
It's not the same.
I even think the NFL is actually getting very soft, and I don't know how much longer they can continue to change the rules where it just won't be watchable. Right now, it's still entertaining, but it is getting to the point where it's not going to be watchable. Where the ref's throwing a flag if you just sneeze the wrong direction.
Yeah, it's insanity. And well, to stay on that subject for a moment, what are your thoughts of because the hot topic? I'll tell you anybody who is starting a channel on YouTube, they end up getting views like crazy as soon as they mention Caitlin Clark. And what happens is because the WNBA is kind of rising a little bit. I'm not going to get into the politics of it. We won't go too deep. But what is your opinion? Is it something that's watchable in your eyes?
What, the WNBA?
The WNBA.
No, not until Caitlin Clark came into the league.
Exactly. And even then, I have watched again, looking at highlights. Sometimes I'm like, what is going on the court? Like, how is this the
Yeah.
best of the best?
If I gave you my true opinion of the WNBA, I'd be canceled for sexism. I, immediately. And it's no discredit to the amazing athletes that are on that court, but the whole thing is subsidized by the NBA. They haven't been a profitable league ever.
Mhm.
Let's face it, the only people that really sit down to enjoy sports are us disgusting, toxic men. And
Well, if you
literally, if you
identify,
want
wait a minute. If
to
you
hold
identify as a
on.
man, you're toxic too. Okay.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay.
And if you want to you're not going to get your soccer moms, and I'm sorry, it's sad. You're not going to get them to take time out of their day to sit there and watch the WNBA. And the only way you're going to get men to sit down and watch the WNBA is they all got to be blonde haired, blue eyed, and wearing lingerie. I mean, that's the nature of the beast. I don't say that to sound
I know what you mean.
sexist or misogynistic in any way. I say that just because it's not a product that we desire to look at or want to see. We want to see toxic masculinity on the field of people beating the crap out of each other and playing hard, athletic,
Exactly.
competitive sports.
Exactly.
That's what it is.
And women like
And
what they
unless
like.
Caitlin, right, unless
That's okay.
Caitlin
That's
and start brawling in there and drawing blood on center court there, we're probably not going to watch.
right. Exactly. And I will now I will tell you. So I coach two teams I'm coaching currently. One is all girls and one's a
Mhm.
co-ed. And my all girls team, who's undefeated by the way, and they have done super well. I love coaching the girls, and I also love when we do AAU travel b-ball. I love watching the girls play. I'll tell you, they have a natural now, obviously because of uh, natural things. They have a tendency to really shoot perfect shots. Like they just have a crisp shot, and I'm watching them play. Sometimes I'm like, it really is incredible. But saying all that, I see some girls in AAU that I feel like they are way better than some of the WNBA players that I see. But anyway, that's just me.
Yeah, well, I'll be honest with you. I'll like to go see, like, on the local school level.
Yes,
If
exactly.
there's a playing prior, post or pre any one of my kids playing, I'll stay and watch, and it has nothing to do with that they're girls playing. It's fun to watch. I like watching competition, but I'm not going to go out of my way to turn the TV on to watch a WNBA. It's just not going to happen.
Amen, brother. Amen.
So someone will cancel me because I'm a sexist and don't like watching women's sports. But anyway,
Hey, what are you gonna do? Uh,
well,
yeah. So
uh,
anyway, though, the thing is, so obviously we have a lot to talk about, and we're gonna get a quick break
I don't
in.
know how we got into sports, and if people are still tuned in, hey,
I'm sure they are. Sports is a hot topic lately, so it's a
went on a
it's a good
tangent.
topic. And again, if you are listening, obviously this is not live. Put your comments below. Who's your favorite team? Why? What do you think of the WNBA? What do you think of what's happening in the NBA? Is it watchable? Is it going to be watchable in a couple of years? Football, has it changed? All of these things. I'd love to hear what you have to say about our sports today. And but yeah, we do have a lot to get to, but we're gonna have a break in a minute here. We'll do our quick promo and then we'll come back. And then, of course, we have a lot more to talk about. So, again, if you are tuned in, be sure to like, follow, subscribe to our YouTube. Please do that. Also, Rumble. We are building both of those platforms, and also any podcast platform. If you want to just listen, excuse me, please go ahead and like and subscribe on Apple, the Ken and Mike Show, all those places. We
Soon we'll
appreciate it.
have videos and short content on TikTok.
Yes,
And
if this guy Ken could get his stuff together. So
well, I mean, we both can start putting stuff up there, but we'll get into that another time, another
absolutely.
day. So yeah, Ken, if we're going to take a break, let's take a break, and we'll come back and we'll dive into this. Hunter Biden pardon.
Trump is in the White House. That means Ken and Mike are out of the outhouse and back in the studio for the Ken and Mike Show. So if you want real, honest talk with a dose of entertainment, no need to look any further. Ken and Mike have you covered. Ken and Mike are returning with an all-new show, but with the same potent and highly absorbable nutritional ingredients: truth, sarcasm, wit, and humor. New episode drops every Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time starting November 21st on all major platforms. So tune in and join the conversation with Ken and Mike on The Ken and Mike Show. The Ken and Mike Show is not FDA approved and is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Please consult your doctor and or therapist before listening, as it may cause major side effects triggered by truth.
Welcome back to the Ken and Mike Show. I hope you enjoyed that promo. Of course, we are back, and we are on all those platforms and more. So be sure to check us out on all those platforms. Again, Rumble, YouTube, click that bell, like, subscribe, share with your friends, please. We were going to get out there, and of course, we want your take on all the things and topics that we're talking about as well. Put those in the comments.
Critique
and Mike,
us.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. And by the way, one thing that we mentioned earlier, meaning like earlier actually can't say that earlier the month. It was last month in November. We were speaking about the fact that we are going to do live, and we were talking about once a month. Well, Mike and I have a couple of great ideas, and one thing that was great about the Ken and Mike Show over 3 years ago now was that we were live every time, and so we may be bringing that back. And it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be great to be live again. And then you'll get a dose of two. You get the live version, and then of course you can go back and play it again. Mike, you're going to say something.
Yeah, well, just to jump on what you were just saying, is I think we're going to just give it a rough go of it next week. We'll go live on our old Facebook platform, and whoever watches live gets the uncut, unedited version.
That's right.
So you get to see all the fumbling about and all the behind the scenes stuff of us just talking when things don't go right. And the YouTube and Rumble and all the other ones, the edited version will drop later in the week, as it usually would do on Thursday.
I love it. And tell us what you think too.
That should be fun. And I think what is also great is, like, just here before the break, people see a break, but there's actually a cut in time that you and I kind of just go back and forth, just shooting the breeze.
Yep.
And always try and catch Kenny off guard. I'll say something just as he's about to hit record. So when you come in and you see him smirking, because I said something I shouldn't have said, and makes him, have the face that he has right now.
Exactly, it's true. I won't tell you what he said though. But
why not?
it's for our ears only. So listen, I want to jump right into this, man. There is a lot.
Let's jump right into it.
So one thing I'm really looking forward to this. Hunter Biden, the guy has a history of being a good-natured young man. Obviously, never been.
I teach all my kids who to be like.
He stays away from the things that you should stay away from. That type of thing. So honestly, we know about the laptop. We know about his issues. We're tongue in cheek here, but I hope he gets better. Don't get me wrong, but there's a lot there to it. Maybe it will be investigated one day, but can it be now? Because he was pardoned. Mike, take it away. Tell me your take. I'm looking forward to this.
You make me sound like I'm just going to part ways with everybody. And I am. I actually have a whole notes over here because I wanted to make sure we talked about this.
Okay.
But first and foremost, Biden lied, which isn't new. President Biden lied. He said over and over again in interviews and through his press secretary that he would accept whatever the verdict was and whatever the punishment was, and he would not pardon his son at all. That turned out to not be true. But I'm going to defend Joseph Biden.
Okay.
Believe it or not. And it's going to part ways with our usual um, beating up of the left wing establishment. And I like to consider myself to steal from Fox News fair and balanced. Um, so let's face it, Kenny, it's his son.
Yeah.
That's all it is. And that's all he had to say. And and if I am going to critique him, what I would say is he should have just, when he made the announcement, he should have left it there. If he had said, listen, well, I can put it this way. What ticks me off about the pardon is only in terms of nobody on this planet within reason would have a problem with saying, hey, it's my son. I love him. There's no way I'm sending him to prison. And as the president, I have the power to make that not happen. And I think you as being a father and me being a father, if I was in that position, I would tell whoever has a problem with it, kick rocks. It's my kid. I'm going to do what I want to do. And I'm in a position where I can save my son from going to prison, regardless of what he did, regardless of how disgusting it was, and regardless of whether or not I'm lying directly to the American people. He's my kid. I'm in a position where I can get him out of trouble. That's a father's job. I mean, yes, it's a father's job to teach a kid, hold him accountable, and all that stuff. But let's face it, if it was you or me in a position where we could save our child from going to prison for regardless of how heinous the crime was, you would do it, and I would do it. If I was president, if you were president and your kid is in that situation, you would do it too. Anybody with a rational common sense knew he was going to do that. Just don't lie about it, was my problem. The American citizens will still criticize on the right, me and you. But you know, and I know, and any father in his heart will understand it. But to come out and start talking about how it's been used as a political leverage and a witch hunt by the right, what do you think you've been doing to Donald Trump all this entire time? Now, make your cases against Donald Trump, argue what is truly criminal and proper criteria and legitimate to whatever Donald Trump did wrong. That is not the point. It was clearly politicized, and the left was hell-bent on making sure he couldn't run for re-election. They were scared and knew they couldn't beat him in a fair fight. They knew tying him up in litigation would slow him down, potentially marring his campaign. Now, I'm going to throw a little shocker at you here. You ready for this?
Okay.
And these are the notes that I was writing, and I thought about this before the show. Let's be honest. In 2020, the election was about Biden. Was not about Biden. It was against Trump.
Agreed.
In 2024, it's not so much for Trump. It's against open borders, inflation, cancel culture, and crime in our streets. But look, if you want to move forward, you want to be an example to the American people, you know what Biden should do in his next move? Pardon Trump. Look, Gerald Ford pardoned Nixon because he knew it was right for the American people. Al Gore in 2000, went all the way to the Supreme Court, and he still had a case against Bush for all those hanging chads down there in Florida. Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
But these figureheads in politics always say they want to do what's best for the American people, but never do it. Here is an opportunity to do what's best for the American people. And I say you go all out. If it's good for Biden to pardon his son, let's pardon Trump, regardless of whatever the cases may be, whether they be trumped up, politicized charges, legitimate charges. But maybe Biden should pardon Trump, wipe the slate clean, and we can judge Trump on his next 4 years. Don't forget, if you don't like the outcome, there's also the midterm elections in 2 years.
Those are solid points, man.
Pardon Trump?
Yeah, I think that's a solid point. It is a shocker, but like you said, it happened before. He pardoned somebody who I know it's his son, that has way more, not just potential, obvious, heinous crimes that were committed that do deserve justice, and these things that you said that were literally trumped up, witch hunts, things that were actually made up, on that the people who actually made these up, like the Russia, like the whole Russia bull, that those who created it, which we know those bad actors, should be the ones that are actually prosecuted in that case, not Trump. But that'll never happen. But I exactly, I think that you're exactly right, and so I'll tell you the shocker. I know you've heard this before. I wouldn't be surprised if in this election, when Trump went over and did his ballot, that he didn't have Trump on that ballot himself. Honestly.
Oh, Biden. Yeah. I know Biden voted for Trump. Can't.
I'm like
I'm pretty sure he did.
99.7% positive. I'll give that.
And I'm almost convinced, and I don't say this hyperbolically either. I'm almost convinced if Biden hadn't pardoned his son, Trump would have.
That's the thing. So on that point, that's a great, excellent point, Mike. Think about this. Do you remember? And I know you do. When Hillary should have been in jail. There's some allegations that obviously that she could have been put away.
Yeah, she was actually worried about, because she was actually quoted as saying, if he gets elected, we're all going to hang.
Yeah, exactly. So what did he do?
But he chose not to go after. They asked him, okay, we have this information, and he made a calculated decision, and he said, no, that's not good for the American people.
Exactly. This is not good for the American people.
Who does it benefit? Mm-hmm. Yes, of course you're gonna bloviate, and you're gonna say all sorts of things for shock value, like he did during the debate towards her, and say, yeah, well, if I was running the country, you'd be arrested. He says that things because it panders to his base. Let's face it, it panders to a part of his base, and it was good. It was a good talking point. But when it came down to it, Trump is not that diabolical person that they make him out to be. He's just, no, it's not good for the people. We're not going to do that. And I really do believe he would go when he's sworn in. I think he would have pardoned Hunter. I think he'd say, listen, what he did was wrong. We know it's wrong. No one's above the law. We've all admitted, but it does not benefit the American people nor my constituents to put him in prison. Let's pardon him. Yep. I bet you he would have. I think what he would not have done, though, in which I find very fishy about what Biden did, is Biden made a very specific time period with his pardon. 11 years. Not 5, not 10, 11 years. We're going to go back 11 years. Why? So you're admitting to the whole conspiracy theory that we've always said, that he was selling the name. He was, and people hate this, but he was operating under the Biden crime family, doing all sorts of nefarious things overseas to other countries. And listen, so you're admitting to it. So why is it 11 years? Because Biden knows when Trump gets in the White House, he's going to have access to all the records, everything that was going on. And Trump is going to have to be able to choose, holy cow, he's going to see everything, but what do we do with this? Somebody needs to get in trouble. So I really believe Biden knows everything's going to come out, be exposed, and the best way he can defend his son and hopes to defend the family name and no one gets in trouble for it is say, all right, we're going to put an 11-year pardon on it.
So to your point, and here's what I'll say here. So I'm glad you brought this up, because it's exactly what I was going to mention. On the which, by the way, great points as far as that goes with being a father. Now, I don't know. I mean, I'm not in that position. I want to say that I would hopefully make my kid be accountable, but again, I wouldn't know that, and I understandably so of what you said there. But here's the thing. So one of the questions that's come up now is the Fifth Amendment, which obviously that protects against self-incrimination. One thing is with him in the place that he's at. Yes, the federal level is gone, but it doesn't mean that the states don't have an opportunity. Now, what's going to happen is yes, like you said, these 11 years are gone. What it's going to turn around to be is that if the Republican Party, if they do go after that, the whole entire time the Democrats are going to do the very thing of like, oh, they're just going on a witch hunt and they're going to essentially belittle and make it look as if like actually I have the proper wording here. Just give me 1 second here. It does say, well, yeah, let's see here. However, the pardon applies only to federal crimes, not state crimes, and it remains unclear how or if Republicans could move to act on this possible loophole in the weeks and months ahead. So, still, the question of Fifth Amendment protections does have outsized importance as Republicans prepare to regain the majority in both chambers of the Congress in January, ramping up the possibility of potential GOP-led investigations into the outgoing president. Now, that one part I was saying here, let me see. So, in cases Hunter Biden's pardon could actually limit his ability to assert Fifth Amendment, since he is no longer at risk of facing criminal charges. But again, theoretically, it's possibly going to make it look like. Let me see here. Where does that say? They're essentially going to do exactly what they accused us of doing, and that was trying to. Where is that here?
Well, they're going to accuse us of going on a witch hunt and politicizing these things and just going after them
And make it, and
using
it's going to shut it
lawfare.
down.
They're going to accuse us of lawfare because that's exactly what they did with Trump. Now, I will say this, and I'm going to part way with my buddies here on the right here. What does it profit us to do to them what they did to us? I mean, yes, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. Now, you got to be careful when you set precedent for anything. You are opening yourselves up to having the same methodology used against you that you're going to be using against your opponent. Now, it doesn't mean it makes it right, because I've always said, and I've stole the line from Bill O'Reilly, is pointing to bad behavior to justify bad behavior is still bad behavior.
Yes.
And so I think we should take the high road here. And when Trump gets into office, yes, obviously, if there is, really audacious lack of respect for the law in some area and people just look the other way, they need to be held accountable. But fire the bad actors, fire everybody in Washington that has helped to move these policies and these traditions along of doing these kind of things. Get rid of them all. But I think if I was Trump, I'd say, listen, I'm not going to go after this guy, that guy, and the other thing because I don't like him and they treated me bad, whatever. I say he takes the high road and just, forgives everybody, moves on, and goes about governing the country. What he does need to do is, the people that are being unlawfully imprisoned because of, political hack jobs by the left, like, venture I say, and people are going to hang me for it. But, some of these J6 people that are in prison without representation and all that stuff, let the violent offenders free. They're all being held on terrorist things. And, listen, your 65-year-old grandma who was there is being held in prison for no reason is unspeakable to me.
Well, to your point,
So, I mean,
they released those videos, right? They released the videos.
Yep.
And the reason why is because the people were asking for that. See, they're constantly withholding things so the American people can't draw their own conclusions, which obviously, if they saw that, we would have a long time ago seen the obvious, which was a bunch of bull. So same thing here.
Well, yeah, and they leave out parts of the video and they
Exactly.
doctor it to only let you see what they want you to see.
Exactly.
And that's the problem that bothers me with the legacy media, is because it's all bent on an opinion and a predisposed bias that they're not going to show you the full picture. They're not. And listen, you talk to anybody that is so adamant about this being some crazy insurrection, they're still not able to be objective. Even if you give them all the information and put it before them and say, look, how can you look at this information and not see this was partially an inside job? This was partially Nancy Pelosi not doing what she was supposed to do. This is partially the U.S. government being complicit in this uprising to make Trump look like a lunatic. But no, they're only going to spew the narrative of he never, it took him 3 hours to tell the people not to do this and to go in peace and blah, blah, blah. I want the whole picture. Even if Trump is guilty, and we know he wasn't.
He's not, no. Not at all.
But even if it suited your narrative, I'm okay with that if you're showing me the whole picture, not your personal bias to push forward a narrative in a government that you want, that is, for the powerful, by the powerful, only for the powerful, not for
Precisely.
you and me.
I will have to jump back into the J6 information at some point because I do have some little bit of insight on that, and we'll talk about that another day. And on top of that, too, information that most people don't even tap into as far as some of the other things that happened that day that really makes the Dems look really bad, actually. But again, to your point, I think that we all have a right to see everything. So if there's necessary information, even like Biden, if like look at the president, anyone who's there is for the people, and the people have been saying, hey, there's something not right here. We need to know what's going on. So if it's not going to jeopardize our safety and security in the country, for example, if there's anything that's happened with Biden, I think that we have at least a right to know exactly what happened. We know we have ideas and thoughts and things like that of what occurred and assumptions, but we actually really need to know because we were fighting on, everybody was in uproar of these things, and we saw the facts, but then they were taken away. Too many out there to not put him away at those times, but he never got put away. And again, to your point earlier, yes, any investigations into Biden's family after he leaves office would absolutely be criticized by Democrats as both futile and a waste of, here's the kicker here, and it's true, taxpayer money. And so, and I'll get to that, right. So given the nature of earlier investigations, Hunter's own pardon, and Biden's own lame duck status. So here's the thing about that taxpayer money. So to me, this wouldn't be a waste of taxpayer money, but compared to the taxpayer money that we see here, which again, I guess would almost bring us to another subject here. We're talking about taxpayer money. There has been lots of funds, Mike, right, going in certain places. Do we see any of that money? You and I, or anyone else that's in need around here?
Nope.
I'm not talking about the illegals.
Nope.
Goes to as well.
It's disgusting.
So give me that stat that you spoke of earlier. The money going towards where? And
well, yeah, just today, $1 billion went to Angola, Africa, for people who were displaced by the drought. Why doesn't I want to punch the camera? It's like we have people in the Carolinas after the hurricanes who are displaced. We have $1 billion to send over to Angola for people who are living in a drought and been displaced. But, I liken it to, it's like watching your parents make dinners for the next door neighbor while you're starving.
Right.
It's ridiculous.
Right, exactly.
I mean, and then today we also sent $725 million to the Ukraine, a military aid. We have money to do all these things across the country, but we have people. What was it in Ohio? They had some sort of chemical spill.
Oh yeah,
am I right?
Train wreck? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Yep.
And then, again, with the hurricanes, and then down there in Hawaii with the wildfires, where people are still displaced, don't have homes because the entire country, the entire state was burned.
Nobody wanted to
the entire island was burned. But we can send money to everywhere else, but we don't have the money just to send it. If we can find these funds out of nowhere, because we're going to make a congressional hearing and approval to send funds here, there, and everywhere, but except for the American people, you're doing it wrong.
Exactly. The amount of waste of, again, that's
why I'm looking forward to the Vivek and Elon Musk doing their little waste government funds there. And, it looks like he's also going to do some entertainment value out of it, where he's going to, apparently, I don't know if this rumor is true, but I heard Elon's going to put a website together, and he's going to put up all the wasteful spending and categorize it, and not necessarily get rid of it based on the American people, but let the American people move it up and down and what their importance list of what's wasteful, and just have fun with it, and see, let the American people look at where all this money is being spent and what we think is important, and should we be cutting it or shouldn't we?
You know why I think that's an incredibly ingenious idea is because it will, people who actually will pay attention, like you and I will take a look at it, right? Because I'm
going to put it right up here on the show over my shoulder.
That's what I'm saying. I do want to know. And that because it connects us with what's going on in our country, and it makes you more proud of what's going on in our country, and also helps you understand, like, again, you can make those decisions, but because it makes you feel like, okay, I have a say here. And so the money that's going out there, The reality is the waste. I won't even get into the whole thing where they left all the weaponry and all of the planes and the equipment over there, billions of dollars. I mean, that's the kind of wasteful spending that we have. That's so sickening when you look at our debt and you look at the amount of money and the inflation and the things that we've had to put up with, all for their gain. They've been set this whole time. They've had their border walls and they've had their security, and they never have to beg for bread. They are getting driven around. Anything they want at any time, they've got it. You look at the Obamas, for example. Look at the many mansions that they have, and they go around talking about how difficult their lives have been and how their struggle. And honestly, I'm so sick of listening to that junk. It's like you don't know what that even means.
They're disconnected from reality.
Disconnected, just like the Hollywood. We talked about that last time. Completely disconnected from reality. I sent you something. I know I sent you the other day, but it's not just him. It's so many of these other actors that are coming out saying that the American people are essentially stupid. Well, guess what, buddy? You are part of the American population. So count yourself in. If we're all
stupid. If you believe in karma at all, and I don't, but I kind of find it hilarious because Ellen DeGeneres didn't leave the country.
Yeah.
Okay? And when she moved, when she left the country, the mansion that she went to is flooded right now.
Who is this?
Ellen DeGeneres.
Oh, she's so sick. She's so sickening to me.
She moved out of the country because of, she said because of the results of the elections. But it's kind of
some other things though too. I heard something was not doing so well with it. She's not doing a show anymore, is she?
No, she turned. Well, it's because all the news came out of how much of an awful person she is to work for, and also, like back to what I said in the last show, there was some involvement in the Diddy part.
Well, I don't know.
I don't know how much stock in baby oil she has.
I don't know. I don't know who.
But listen, the right wing establishment is not perfect. Okay, and I admit that. And as much as I align myself with Republicans and conservatives and independents, we're not perfect. And we have our flaws. It used to be that the Republican establishment was the party of money, and it was the party of big business, and it was the party of just us spending. And it's kind of funny how it switched, but still, I liken it now. I'm going to move into my other topic here. Is I was researching, and this all looked familiar. And I don't know if it's because of something I saw that made me think about this, but I decided to research it anyway. Now, mind you, I'm going to say this very fragilely because I know there's people in our families that are Democrats and are on the left, and friends that we have. And when I say Democrats and I use the word leftists, I'm talking about the parties and I'm talking about the establishment. I'm not talking about the individuals in our lives that adhere to these parties. So I got to put that little caveat in there because next thing you know, I'm saying something about a Democrat and I'm attacking somebody's mother. No, I'm talking about the establishment. And what reminds me of, I was looking on charliehealth.com and looking at what a narcissistic relationship is. And I'm going to show you some slides here. And I want you to see them for a second. Narcissistic relationships. Gaslighting. This manipulation tactic involves the abusive narcissistic partner making the victim doubt their perception, memory, or sanity when they are gaslighting someone. Narcissists might say that things like, "You imagining things," or "You're too sensitive." Let's put this in there.
Or what they'll do is they have a whole completely different scripted narrative of what actually happened.
Oh yeah, well, I'm likening it to. Have you heard this before? I hope you get what you voted for.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay. Oh, you voted against your own best interests. And then blame shifting. Kamala. Well, hold on. I'll read what blame shifting is. A narcissistic partner may often avoid taking responsibility for their actions by shifting the blame onto the victim. A control tactic commonly seen in abusive relationships. They might say, "You made me do this," or "It's your fault I'm like this," or maybe like Kamala lost because of sexism and misogyny.
And on top of that, on your blame shifting, what they'll also do is they will essentially use word salad, literally, to kind of like get you veered off of what you were thinking to like your point, and now you don't even know where you are anymore. And you were like, okay, what are we even talking about anymore? I was just talking about this. Well, no, They will just get you. It's just seeding confusion.
Invalidation. The narcissist partner may dismiss the victim's feelings of experiences during an argument. They may say, "You're overreacting," or "You're being irrational," or "The right is so uneducated."
Right.
You see where I'm going with this?
I do. I keep going.
Okay, let's turn that one off. Let's go to slide 2 here. Criticism and insults or manipulative flattery. Again, I hope you get what you voted for.
Yep. Yep. And the insults.
Oh, you're gonna love this next one.
Emphasis on the insults.
Yes. You're gonna love this one. You ready?
I'm ready.
Isolation. The narcissist partner may often try to isolate the victim from friends and family. They make them more dependent. They might say, "They don't really care about you like I do," or "I'm the only one who understands you."
Who does that sound like?
Withholding. The narcissistic partner might withhold affection, attention, or support and manipulate the victim. They might say, "I only love you if you do what I want," or "You have to earn my affection." Or in my translation, "Let's start a 4B movement and swear off men." Or encourage women to divorce their husbands. Sound familiar?
Sounds very familiar.
So it's not the left versus the right. It's narcissists versus empaths.
Yes.
So I need you to take a look at Kamala's voting demographics. Narcissistic traits often begin in childhood through a combination of factors like overindulgence, excessive praise or superficial qualities, a lack of emotional validation, or experiencing trauma, which can lead to a child to develop an inflated sense of self-importance and a need for constant affirmation to feel valued.
Yep.
So, how often do we give participation trophies? How often do we tell kids that they are awesome and they can do anything and everything they want? Look again at the Kamala voting demographic. We've created this monster by, if you will,
Affirming it.
what do they call it? Helicopter parenting?
Yep. Yeah, and to that point with the affirmation. So there's one thing to be said. Okay, there's one thing, okay, affirming somebody, giving them some praise. But then there's people that constantly ask for it. That's a problem.
Mm-hmm.
And because it's just like, why do you need it so bad? There's something else going on. And now the people that they're asking it from feel like they have to do it, or else you'll be shunned. Who does that sound like? That's what they do to you. If you're not part of it, if you're not giving them praise, you are completely un-American.
Right. And that's why I just said, everything I was looking up with the narcissistic relationships reminds me of the Democratic Party. Yep. And I just call it our relationship with the left is a narcissistic party. And I think that last part I got was from the Mayo Clinic. With narcissistic traits often begin in childhood through a combination of factors like overindulgence, excessive praise for superficial qualities, and a lack of emotional validation. What are we doing to this generation now? Exactly that.
Exactly that. And Mike, we are actually coming down to the wire. So I'm going to say this real quick. Your point is completely valid. I hope that you folks do listen to it as well. One last thing. Speaking of that type of thing. So your question to you, who would you rather have in the White House right now when it comes to the hostages over in Israel? Somebody who has done nothing, or somebody that says, hey, there's going to be hell to be paid if you do not release those hostages by the time I'm in the White House? Which one would you rather have?
He's taking a page right out of Reagan's book there with the Iranian hostages, make my day, basically. Try it.
Yep, exactly. And that's what we have. Folks, Mike, that was great. Tell us what you think. Ken and Mike Show, we've got much more coming at you. Thank you so much for tuning in. Again, make sure you like, subscribe to all those places. And guys, hey, we're going to catch you back on a live show next week. We'll let you know. Stay tuned. We will be putting those promos out there, letting you know what's going on. Thank you so much again for tuning in right here to the Ken and Mike Show. Mike, always a pleasure.
God bless, brother.